Aho, Iaho, Aho, Iaho. And now to come to accomplishments. Since my book was published in 2000, well, the English version of my book came out in 2008. And how that came about is I came to Guatemala for the first time after 50 odd years. And when I saw that nobody knew about us, the Afro-Jamaican. So that was my observation, and my observation led to me coming back and meeting with the elders and talking to them about history. Once we leave, there will be no proof that we were ever here. We are not leaving anything. And that's when I took on the challenge to do the book. So after about 4 or 5 trips doing research and speaking to the people, the first book was published in English. I published it for my family and friends because I wanted to leave them with that. Right. I wanted to give them their history. So I published 50 copies of the book. It was done in hardcover, glossy color, beautiful. Right. And one of my cousins took it to the Guatemalan publisher, Tierra Santa, because he knew someone who worked there, and he took the book and showed it to her. The funny thing is that before I wrote the book, I contacted this publisher and asked them if they were interested, and they said yes, it would cost me $16,000. So I said, thank you very much. And I decided to self-publish 50 copies. And when my cousin took it to Tierra Santa, they came back and they said, they contacted me and said, we want to publish your book. Translate it and publish it. Well, sure, of course. Of course. Right? But then I had to do a second edition of the English copy. And they published the second edition. They translated it and published it in 2014. At that time, they invited me over to Guatemala to come and do a 3-month book tour. And during this book tour, we went to everywhere. So this is the book, first and second edition. Wonderful. Excellent. So the first edition, as I said, was hardcover, glossy color. The second edition was paperback. Cheaper. a lot cheaper. So this is what they did. Spanish translation published by Librerías Piedra Santa. And it was presented at the book fair, Filgua 2014. And it was the most sold book, sold more than any other book at Filgua. Wow, that's a real accomplishment, my sister. It was. It really, really was. The people came out, and we were in the news. I had the opportunity of sharing that my mission is to share the history of the Afro-Jamaican in Guatemala. And that was all over the newspapers, and it was, like I said, an amazing journey. Much more than I was prepared for, really. But, we never know where our journey will take us. This is a picture of when I went to a school. I went to all the schools, the universities, the colegios, and everything, and shared my story, which was also very interesting because I had young people coming up to me and they would say to me, my grandmother looked like you. Their great-grandmother or somebody looked like me. And it's like, what's your name? An English name. I met one young man that said his name was Charles. Charles. So I sort of corrected him and I said, no, mijo, it's Charles. It's pronounced Charles. He said, no, it's Charles. I said, okay. So anyway, I got to meet, we traveled all over, just going to the different schools and the colleges and the universities. I went to Universidad San Carlos, biggest university here. And when we went to speak to them about the book, the director of some department said to me, oh yeah, I know all about it. We just came back from a trip to Jamaica. So I was very excited, and it's like, really, what was it like? Which Jamaican teacher went to Jamaica? And he said, what do you mean Jamaican teacher? They were all Garifunas. I said, there are so many Afro-Jamaican teachers, and not one Afro-Jamaican teacher went on that trip to Jamaica, exploratory trip. He stopped the presses because they were in the process of publishing a work about it. He stopped the presses, and he got my cousin, one of my cousins, to write the story and interview at least 5 Afro-Jamaican teachers to include in the book. Otherwise, they would not have been included. So I went to these different schools, and the children, the young people were very interested. They were very, very interested in the story. And we're included in the social studies textbook. It's Sociedades 3 para primaria. And they added, if you read right here, it says, in this region also exists another group of Afro-descendants educated from the past, and they are originals of Jamaica. They came to work for the United Fruit Company as administrators because they spoke English. This group are the ones that the Garifuna call Gio, because they did not have the same origin. Both groups have been very little studied in Guatemala. So that has been added to the social studies books.
Excellent.
Another accomplishment is that we are officially recognized as one of Guatemala's indigenous groups. It's official. We have the letter from Congress of the Republic of Guatemala, Commission of Indigenous People, and the initiative was approved, number 5133, on September 20th, 2016, recognizing Afro-descendants Creole in Guatemala. This is not quite accurate because Creole is not a people, Creole is a language. But you know, we are just starting out. Those are little things that could be corrected later on. The main thing is that we are recognized as a group.
Right.
So moving on, for the first time, they were included in the census. As you could see right here, you know, it says Garifuna, Xinca, Afrodescendientes Creole, and Afro-Mestizo. That was in the 2018 census. And the census showed that there are 10,000 more Afrodescendientes than Garifunas. People who identify themselves as Afrodescendientes. And there could be more, because what the census takers did is that if they saw you were Black, they automatically check you as Garifuna.
Yeah.
So we ran into that, but at least we are included in the census. Any misinformation could be corrected later on along, because the first thing is to get in.
Yeah.
So once we are in, any misinformation, I think, could be corrected later on down the road. So these are accomplishments that we have so far since 2014, and also the year of the Diseño de los Afrodescendientes, right? The 10 years.
The decade.
The decade, right. Thank you.
No problem.
So the other thing that we have is the association, which I mentioned, Sidney Samuel. He's the founder of Asociación Nelson Mandela. And this is a nonprofit civil organization, and it facilitates social recognition and development of Afro-descendants, but this is Afro-Guatemalans. We want to get to where we become Afro-Guatemalans.
Okay.
Right? And not Afrodescendientes, because really Afrodescendientes is such a general term.
Right.
Yeah, so, but in Guatemala, when you say Afrodescendientes, it's referring to the Afro-Caribbean and the Mestizo.
Okay.
So this organization aims to promote Guatemala's peace through the inter-ethnic inclusion existing in the country, Garifuna, Anglophonous, and Afro-descendants, Maya, and Latinos, inclusive, to be all Guatemalans. So this is Asociación Nelson Mandela, and they have been very instrumental in getting some of these accomplishments through as well, working together.
Somos voces de la historia, sangre, tinta y papel. Somos voces de la historia, mis ancestros, su saber, mis ancestros, su saber, mis ancestros, su saber.